Alright, here's a drone video for one of the most amazing tracks we've ever had, for sure. This is 21 acres directly on the Little Niagara River and also bordering the Fiery Fork Conservation Area. So pretty spectacular property. That's actually facing east. That's on the other side of the road, and we're turning the drone now. Now we're looking at the property. This is a late fall video, and we definitely missed the peak color season, but I'm hoping once the drone gets up in the air that we'll get some really pretty colors here. This will be the first time that I've personally seen this video, although I am familiar with the property. So we're looking westerly. I believe, well, yeah, he's backing up a little bit, so we're going to get a good overview here. Stunning tract. It's got an open meadow area on the east side. And what he's doing is he's backing up over an adjacent property to try to get a complete overview. We're kind of looking northwesterly, so the truck is parked at about the middle of the frontage on the private easement road. And the phone is ringing there, so I'll see if anybody grabs that. Sorry about that. Someone else grabbed it. So we're looking westerly, and we're going to do a flyover here. It's basically entirely wooded other than that meadow area along the east side. Some nice big mature timber. There is some very nice timber on this property. It has over 500 feet of river frontage, direct river frontage on the Little Niagara River on its west side, and I believe we'll see that in a couple minutes here. So we're over the property. We're looking over the property at the Fiery Fork Conservation Area, which directly borders almost the entire north side of this tract. So not only do you have excellent hunting on your own private 21 acres, you literally border over 1,600 acres of public land that you can also generally use for hunting and trail riding and all that good stuff. So we're nearing the west side. That open area you see, that is on the Fiery Fork Conservation Area, just barely. So, well, now once we pull back, if he pulls back a little bit, we'll get to see it. But the north side of the property comes almost right up to that little meadow area. And it's interesting, the property is high on the east side. Oh, there was a hawk to the left. Where the truck is parked and where the meadow is, it slopes down toward the center. It's the lowest in the center, and then it slopes back up as you get to the west side, and there is a gorgeous spot overlooking the Little Niagara River on that west side. Now, when this drone video was taken, it was after 3 or 4 days of heavy rain, and so although the Little Niagara is generally very clear, it's stirred up in this video. I've actually never seen it looking like that before, so that's interesting. It's usually quite clear. Okay, so now we're looking southerly. You're on the left, we've got, it's either the Fiery Fork or the property. I'm not sure exactly where the drone is. But the other interesting thing is this property at Fiery Fork Bridge also borders the common area on the river. So it's adjacent to another several hundred feet of river frontage. So I mean, very usable. So now as you look right down there, kind of to the left of center is the property, to the right of center is the common area. You can see some big, beautiful sycamore trees. They stick out because their bark peels off and they're bright white, so they're toward the center of the photo. But this property hasn't been logged for many years, so there is some big mature timber on it. And it looks like we've got a few minutes left, so I think he's just kind of flying around and checking out the area. Property on the right, you can see it is steep, which is what gives it that view of the river. You're going to definitely want to look at a topo map to see, but we're looking at the property with the Fiery Fork behind it. So as we look to the north, we're looking at the property itself. Behind the property is the Fiery Fork Conservation Area. So that open meadow you see is just barely in the Fiery Fork Conservation Area. Wonderful. I mean, just one-of-a-kind property, really. If you wanted to create a trail to that west side to overlook the river, you'd have to spend a couple days with a piece of machinery to do that, because the property does rise and fall fairly aggressively from the east side where that meadow is, where the truck is parked, to the middle of the property, it drops down about 200 feet. So that particular portion we're speaking of on the east side, it's not a cliff or a bluff, but it does drop down, fairly steeply. It's walkable. So now we're just riding the north border and going to the east. Conservation land on the left, property on the right. And still, as we're kind of headed east along that north border, property on the right, Fire Reform Conservation on the left. And now we're drifting more into the conservation area, and we'll probably be heading back to the truck here in just a moment. But you'll find big mature timber. We've seen large deer on this particular track. We've seen large deer. It's just gorgeous. But certainly do check the topo map. This is not a level property, so it's got a lot of options on what you can do out here. But if you wanted to create a road or a trail, you would need a piece of equipment to do so. Because once you get west of that meadow area by the road, that's where it begins to slope down. And you can see there, certainly not a bluff or anything like that on this east part, but it does slope down. Slopes down fairly steeply. So for a home, you'd probably do a walkout style home if that was what your intent was, or you could just use this for recreation. I mean, it's gorgeous. Standard property covenants in place. You can see those on the listing page. But yeah, I mean, what a special tract to border the Little Niagara River, which is very popular for fishing and floating and canoeing, to literally have that river frontage and to border the conservation land. I mean, there's no other tracks that we've ever had that are like that, so it's pretty awesome. Now we're looking westerly. Truck is parked on the east side of the property. You can see the meadow, you can see the timber. Really, really special tract. Again, look at the full listing page to see the topo map, and you'll see that it drops down steeply as you go westerly onto the property. It's the lowest in the middle, where there's a little creek bed, which is probably a seasonal creek bed, and then rises back up steeply as you get to the west side. And it's at its highest point, I believe, on the west side, but both the west side and the east side are high, and it's lower in the middle. I mean, yeah, pretty amazing tract. Anyway, InstantAcres.com, complete owner financing. If you're looking for something just truly unique, this is a top shelf property. So if you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, check out the website at InstantAcres.com to see if this tract is still available. And we look forward to hearing from you.